Good day, everyone. You are welcome to Born Teacher channel. Today, I'll be teaching us construction. And when I say construction, we'll be starting from the basic level of construction, which is construction of lines. Then we'll move to construction of angles, to the construction of plane shapes. Then we move down to locals and some other advanced level in construction. But before we move to anything, I would like to introduce the instrument, let me say the construction materials that we'll be using for this class. So please try as much as possible to get them ready if you want to follow this class. Because in construction, practice is very, very important. So the first thing I have here to introduce to us is our ruler. I think we all know what a ruler is. When we're talking about the ruler, it is calibrated in centimeter. It is calibrated in centimeter. That's the important part we'll be using there. We have centimeters, and you can see from the first line that you have here to that one, that's your 1 centimeter. That is, this is 0 and this is 1. So you have it from 0 to 1, then to 2, 3, 4. And the way this ruler is being calibrated is such that each lines you see there, between each lines you are seeing there is 0.1 centimeter. That is, from from the first from the first line here from the first line here to the second small line here is 0.1. The third line is 0.1, is 0.1, is 0. So you have is 0.1, is 0.2, is 0.3, is 0.4, is 0.5. Do you understand now? So you have 0.6, is 0.7, is 0.8, 0.9, then you have 1. Then you go on to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. So what you notice is every other major line, this is the first longest line, which is our 0. The next one is 0.1. The next long line you see here is our is 0.5. This is your 1, this is your 1.5, this is your 2, this is your 2.5, this is your 3, this is your 3.5, this is your 4. So that is how the ruler is being calibrated, and we'll be using the centimeter that we have here. We'll be using the centimeter. If you're given a millimeter, then you should know the conversion from centimeter to millimeter. So let's go on. So I've shown you our ruler. That's the important one, followed by our pencil. Everybody know the uses of our pencil. So you will notice that I have two pencils here with me. I have one long pencil, and I also have one short pencil. And I have a reason for having these two pencils here with me, because I'll be using this short pencil with this other materials here called the compass. I'll be using the pencil with this material here called the compass. You can see how a compass looks like. And you can see this pointed mouth of the compass here. If you want to put the pencil there, you want to set the pencil there, you have to set it in such a way that the mouth of the pencil and the pointed mouth of the compass are aligned before you fix the pencil permanently there. You must make sure that the mouth of the two materials align with each other before you can fix it there. You can see now I allowed them to be of the same length before I fixed it there. So if you do it that way, you'll be able to have an accurate result. And the last one, we all know the eraser. I don't think I need to introduce that. And the last one I have here is called the protractor. The last one I have here is called the protractor. You can see how a protractor looks like. And this is the most important thing we'll be talking about in this class, because of the angle we'll be working with. A protractor is used to measure angles. Protractor is used to measure angles. You can see how the protractor is being calibrated. You have 0, you have 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way to 180. You can see all the way to 180. And if you also pick it from this other side here also, from under there, you still have 0 all the way to 180. That is, we have from top here is 0 to 180, and we have from bottom also is 0 to 180, which means from left to right and also from right to left. And I'll be telling us the reason why this protractor is being calibrated like that. And why is it being calibrated like that? You can notice when you are measuring an angle, let's say you construct an angle gives you two sides. An angle gives you two sides, whereby you have angle on the right and you also have angle on the left. So it now depends on the side you want to use. Let's say you want to use the angle from the left. This is our left side, so you want to use the angle from the left. It means you are going to consider the calibration at the top that starts from 0, because your measurement of angle starts from the baseline. So you are going to start from 0 then to whatever angle you want to measure. But let's say you want to consider the angle by your right, then you are going to consider the one that starts from 0 from here. So you consider the one from your right. So it depends on the sides you want to consider for your angle. And that will be more clearer when we start the construction. You'll be able to see what I'm actually talking about there. So just have it in mind that you can measure your angle from the right or from the left. It depends on the side you want to focus your angles on. So if you want to focus your angle on the left one, you consider the one that starts from 0 on the left one. And if you want to consider your angle from the right one, you consider the one that starts from 0 from the right one. So you can either measure your angle from here or you measure your angle from here. It depends on the one you want to use. And this aspect is very, very important when you get to construction of plane shapes. Because the angles given to you will be precise and the point of the angle will also be given. So you have to know where you are focusing on, whether you focus on the right or you're focusing on the left. And now let's start with the first important thing we need to know under construction, and that is construction of a straight line. That one is very, very easy. Let's say you want to construct a straight line of a certain distance. You have your ruler here. You can just firstly draw any straight line. Then on that straight line, you open your compass to the given radius given to you. Let's say you want to construct a line AB, and your AB is 6 centimeters. Are you following me now? So you take your ruler and you take your compass. You open your compass from 0. And you open it down to 6 centimeters. You open it from 0 to 6 centimeters. And when you are sure that you've opened it up to 6 centimeters, then you take it to the line you've drawn. You mark a point. We want to construct a line AB to be 6 centimeters. Mark a point on that line, call the point A. Then you are going to stand on that point A. On that line, you are going to make an arc. And where you make the arc, call it your B. If you measure your distance between A and B, is going to give you 6 centimeters, which means what you just did is you've marked out a line of 6 centimeters. And to get it more accurately, you can just taking out the line out, and that will give you your line AB, which is 6 centimeters. You can also do that for any other size of lines you are being given to construct. Now let's say you are asked to construct an angle. In this class, I will be constructing some major and important angles that are used almost every day, and that is going to start with an angle 60 degree. I said one thing earlier, that during construction you have two sides. That is, you can either consider from the left or from the right, And for every angle you construct, you are constructing two angles. For every angles you construct, you are constructing two angles. And let's firstly construct 60 degree. I'll be constructing 60 degree to the right, and I'll also construct 60 degree to the left, so that you'll be able to understand what I am saying when I said you can construct angle from right and from the left. To construct any angle, the first thing you do is you draw a straight line. The first thing you do is you draw a straight line. You will notice one thing: every straight line I firstly draw is not as taken as the kind of as the one I actually need. Always make all your straight line to be faint until you get what you are looking for before you take out what is actually important in your construction. So the first line I'm constructing now, I make it to be very, very thin. On that straight line, you're going to mark a point. Let the point be your center. Call it O. You're going to mark a point. Let the point be your center and call it O. And on that point O, I'm going to open my compass to any reasonable radius. When I say any reasonable radius, it means I'm going to open it a little bit to something reasonable, not as wide as this. You don't need to open your compass to this extent before you construct anything. You can just open it to any reasonable radius. This is still reasonable enough. And you are going to stand on that point O. You are going to stand on that point O, and on that line you are going to construct a semicircle. On that line you are going to construct a semicircle. You can see I constructed a semicircle on that line without altering the radius that we use. We must not let the radius that we use for the for the construction of that semicircle change. We are going to stand on one end here and make an arc. Are you following me now? We're going to stand on one end here and make an arc. The arc that you make on that semicircle here to the circle, if you draw a straight line to join the two of them together from the center of the circle to the arc we made here, if you draw a straight line to join the two of them together, what you'll be having here will be 60 degree. What you'll be having there will be 60 degree. Let me thicken it out, then we can measure the line we just constructed and you'll see what I am saying. We'll be seeing what I'm saying. That's 60 degree. Then let's measure the angle. This is our protractor. You will notice that I marked my 60 degree out here, which means I'm considering the right here. So let's check. You are going to make sure that the baseline of this protractor is exactly on the baseline that you construct here, and the center that is here, you can see the center here. That hole there will be your center. You are going to make sure it's also on the center that you use, which is our center O. So the center will be the same. The center here will be the same with our center O, and the baseline will also mark each other. And if you try as much as possible to get that, you will notice that our line is on 60 degree. Let's check it together. This is 0, this is 10, this is 20, 30, 40, 50, and you have 60 here. You have 60 here. And you can check the baseline. I allow the baseline to be exactly on the line that I draw, and the point is also at the center that I use, so you'll be able to measure it accurately to be 60 degree. But there's one thing I would like you to notice there. Let's check the angle from the left here. You will notice I will have 0, 10, 20, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. On that same line that I have 60 underneath, I have 120 at the top there. The reason being that Angle on a straight line is equals to 180 degree. That is, the sum of any angles you can have on the straight line is equal to 180 degree. And if we say here is 60 degree, 180 minus 60, that's 120. That means the remaining angle we have here is 120 degree. What you notice here now is that I did not only construct 60 degree, but in the process of constructing that 60 degree, I am also constructing 120 degree, which means if you consider it from the right, sorry, if you consider it from the left, I'll be having 120 degree, but if you consider it from the right, I'll be having 60 degree. I'll be having 60 degree, which means what I just constructed now is 120 degree and 60 degree. But my 60 degree is at the right, while my 120 degree is at the left. Now, I said I'm going to construct 60 degree on the right and also on the left. I've constructed it on the right now. Now, let's see how I'll construct it on the left. What's the first thing you do when you want to construct an angle? Yes, you draw a straight line. I'm going to draw a straight line, also as faint as I said. Then I open my compass to any reasonable radius. The compass, you opening the compass does not have any measurement for construction of angles. Just let it be reasonable enough. Don't open it too wide and don't make it too small. So I'm going to mark a center. Let me call the center O. Let me call the center O. You know, this is the radius I used earlier. Let me open it a little bit wider so you will not think maybe there is an actual measurement for the compass. You can see there is no actual measurement for the compass. Just open it to any reasonable. See, I closed it back, then I open it back. Just open it to any reasonable radius and you are good to go. I'm going to stand on that point O again. I'm going to stand on that point O again, and I'll construct another semicircle. But remember earlier, I stood at this edge to make an arc, but this time around, I will be standing at this edge to make an arc. And the arc I am making here, I'm going to join it with my center O. I'm going to join it with my center O. Let me thicken it out once and for all. And if I thicken it out like this once and for all, what I just did now is I constructed angle 60 degree to this side. I'm having 60 degree here, and I am having 120 degree to this side. I'm having 120 degree to this side. You can see now. Let's measure it also. Let's measure it. You know, now I said I constructed my 60 degree to this side, so I'll be considering the calibration from this side that starts from 0 up to 60. So I'm considering the top one from this side now to get my 60 degree, not this other side anymore. You can see, not this other side anymore. And let's measure our angle. Let's measure our angle. You can see now. Let's measure our angle. Now let's check it all together again. I have 0, I have 10, I have 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. You can see that I still have it on 60 if I consider it from this side. And earlier I was having 120 at the top, if you could remember, but this time around I am having 120 at the bottom, which means if I'm to consider from this side now, which is the bottom, I will have this side to be 120. The exact principle that affected the first one is also what affects this second one also. That is, I constructed 60 degree and 120 degree. So let's say you are now asked to construct 60 degree. It depends on the side they want you to construct it to, either the right or the left. You can see how I constructed 60 degree from right and also from the left. And you can see it's as simple as ABC for you to construct angle 60 degree. Now that we've constructed 60 degree, Let's construct angle 90 degree. Let's construct angle 90 degree. 90 degree is on top. 90 degree is on top here. 90 degree is on top here. And when we are talking about this 90 degree, 90 degree is a perpendicular line to any other line. That means a line that makes 90 degree with any line is perpendicular. So this class will not only be teaching you how to construct 90 degree alone, but also will be putting you through how to construct a perpendicular line to any other lines. Are you following me now? Although there is another simple way to construct the perpendicular line, in which I will be teaching you later under bisection, but not yet. But you can still use the knowledge of this construction of 90 degree to also construct a perpendicular line. Now I want to construct 90 degree. The first thing I'll do is what? Yes, I'll draw a straight line. I'll draw a straight line. I have drawn a straight line. After I draw the straight line, I'm going to open my compass to any reasonable radius. I told you there is no actual measurement, just open it to any radius you feel it's reasonable enough, just open it to it. Then mark a point, call the point anything you want to call it. I'm actually calling my point O, but there is no trick in me calling my point O. You can call it anything you want to call it. If your name is John, if your name is Michelle, you can just maybe call it M. If your name is Michelle, call it J. If your name is John. But for simplicity, that's why I'm just using O. Do you understand me? So I'll stand on that point O. On that point O, I'm going to make a semicircle, just like the way we did earlier. I'm going to make a semicircle. And on this side here, using the same radius, I told you, don't alter the radius. On this side, I'm going to make an arc here. I'm going to make an arc here, and also on this side I'm going to make another arc here. You will notice one thing that I did now. What I did here is, this is 60 degree here, this is 60 degree also here. That is, from here to here is 60 degree, from here to here is 60 degree. Let me tell you the principle there. From here to here also is 60 degree. Angle on a straight line is 180 degree. And what I just did here is I bisected all the angles I have on that straight line into 3 equal parts. That is, from here to here is 60, from here to here is 60, from here to here is also 60 degree. That is just what I just did. I bisected all the angles on that straight line into 3 equal parts, which gives me 60 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree. Any line you draw from here to here will make 60 degree here. Any line you draw from here and here will make 60 degree here, and from here to here is also 60 degree. But that is not where I am going. I'm actually going to 90 degree. So what I'm going to do is, I'll open to any reasonable radius. Like I said, at this point I can alter the radius of my compass, but I don't need to, because the space I'm having on top is not that much. So I can still continue with the radius I am still using. So I'll use this radius now. I'll stand on where this arc cuts. Okay, let me open a little bit. I think I still have space. I'll stand on when this arc cuts this circle here. I'm going to make an arc at the top like this. Are you following me now? Using the same radius. Please do not alter your radius. Once you alter that radius now, it will be affected. Using the same radius I used to make this first arc, I'm going to stand on this other side also, where the arc cuts the semicircle. I'm going to make another arc to cross the other arc. You can see now that I have 2 arcs crossing each other, making an X shape crossing each other. So on that point, the point the 2 arcs cut each other, I am going to join it with my center O. Let me taking it out. I'm going to join it with my center O. Then let me taking out this lines also. Without anyone telling you, you can also see that the line being drawn makes an actual perpendicular line on the line at the bottom. That is, what I'm telling you here is 90 degree, and also here is 90 degree. Now let's measure it out if I am correct or not. I said our 90 degrees at the top here. Let's set it the way we normally set it, whereby our center will be at the point we use for the center, and the line will be on the baseline. And you can see what I'm having here. I'm having 90 degree. I'm having 90 degree. And 90 degrees is so unique in such a way that if you measure it from this side, it is 90, and if you measure it from this side also, it is 90, because 90 bisects 180 into two equal parts. And what I just constructed for us now is angle 90 degree. Now that you've constructed 90 degree, let's say you want to construct angle 45 degree. Let's say you want to construct angle 45 degree. You don't need to stress yourself much. Getting this 90 degree is actually very easy. But to get 45 degree, I am going to introduce what we call bisection of angles to us. I'm going to introduce bisection of angles to us, because for you to construct any lines, you have to bisect. Because for you to construct the other angles, these are just the basics angles you can easily just mark out easily without bisecting more things. But from this junction now, to construct any more angles, what you are going to do is what we call bisection of angles. So for me to get 45 degree, 45 is half of 90. Sorry, let me firstly tell us what bisection actually means. Bisection means cutting things into two. Bisection means cutting things into two. But here, I will not only be cutting them into two, but I will be cutting them into two equal parts. I will be cutting them into two equal parts. And if you notice, 90, the half of 90 is 45. For you to get 45, you will just divide 90 into two equal parts, you'll be having 45, 45. Which means if I want to construct angle 45 degree, I can easily bisect angle 90 degree by cutting the 90 degree into two equal parts. And to do bisection, I already have my 90 degree, and we can see that my 90 degree cut this semicircle here, and also the semicircle starts from here. Bisect any angle, even if the angle do not have this semicircle, this arc that joined the beginning and the end of the angle together before, you can just make one with any radius to join the baseline of the angle with the line of the angle together. Although I already have my arc, I'm talking about the arc that starts from here and join this at this place. I already have it. So you can easily just draw new one if you do not have it before, but in this video I have it already. Now what you are going to do is want to cut this into two equal parts. If you want to bisect any angle, like I said earlier, you need the beginning of the angle and the end of the angle. That is why we need to use the arc to join them together. So I'm going to open to any reasonable radius. I'm making it wider now because I have more space by this side that I'm going. And if it is this side you want to bisect it to, it is still the same principle. So you are going to open to any reasonable radius. You are going to stand on the beginning of the arc here. That is where the arc actually starts from here. You are going to stand there. You are going to make an arc. Please, you will notice that my arcs are not that thick. I'm making it thinner. And the actual outcome of the construction is beautiful because I'm only thickening out the lines that I need there, the important line. And that is the way to make your construction easier to understand and read. Because if you make all the lines to be thick, you will see that you end up making jargons. Do you understand me now? So I make out the first arc, then I'll go to the end of the angle that I have here. I'm going to make out another arc. I'm going to make out another arc. And where the two arc meet, I'm going to join it with the center of my semicircle. Where the two arc meet, I'm going to join it with the center of my semicircle. What I did there is called bisection of angles. I just bisect 90 degree into two equal parts, which is 45 and 45. To check if we are correct, we are going to use our protractor. And for us to get 45, you will notice that 45 is not written here. What is being written here is 40 and 50. But I told you earlier that this long line at the middle here that is longer than the others is 0.5, which means from here to here is 45. Since this one is calibrated in 1010, we have, sorry, 1 1, we have 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. You understand, like that? So this one is 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and here the long here is our 45, which means this line that I have here must align with this long one that I have here for me to get my 45 degree. You can actually see it clearly there. So let me just go to my construction, put the center at the center like I said, and allow my base to align with each other. And we can see that it's at the middle of 45 and 50. We can see that it's at the middle of 45 and 50. And I have it's at the middle of 40 and 50. And that gives us 45 degree. So I have 40, 45 to 45. So here is my 45. If you want to do it to the other side also, it's still the same principle. Just open your compass to any reasonable radius. Start at the beginning of the angle here, make an arc. Start at the end of the angle here, make another arc. Where the two arcs crosses each other, draw a straight line to join it with the center of your circle, and voila, you also have 45 degree. So what I'm saying now here is 45 degree, and up here also is 45 degree, which means I have 45 here, 45 here, and the total gives me 90 degree. So what I did here now is construction of 45 degree and also 90 degree. Now let's go to now let's go to angle 30 degree and angle. Okay, sorry, I forgot to mention this. I said it earlier that during construction, you do not only construct one angle in your construction, but two. Immediately I bisect this 90 into 2 and I'm having 45 here. The total angle that remains here, you can tell me. Yes, that will be the 45 here plus the 90 here, which will be what? Yes, 135 degree, which means the total angle I'm having here, starting from this line to the end of the line here, is 135 degree, which means I also construct angle 135 degree here also. So from this line to this place is 45, but from this line here down all the way to here is 135 degree, which means for you to construct angle 135 degree, immediately you cut out your 45 degree and you mark out the 45 degree, the remaining angle here will be 135 degree. Now let's go to the construction of 30 and 150, whereby I'll be constructing angle 30 degree and I'll also be constructing angle 150 degree. To construct any angles, what's the first thing we do? Yes, we draw a straight line. I am drawing the straight line now, and I'm marking the point here, calling it my O. I'm calling it my O. And on my O, I'm going to open to any reasonable radius. Please, there is no magic in this. Just open to any radius you feel like and just allow it to be reasonable. Allow it to be reasonable. You can see. Allow it to be reasonable. I am going to stand on the point here. I'm going to draw a semicircle. I'm going to draw a semicircle. And on my semicircle, we know that I stand here, if I stand here and make an arc, the arc I make here is 60 degree. If you are following this class, the mark I make there is 60 degree. So all you need to do is just make the arc, and the arc I make there is 60 degree. So my 60 degree now is what I'll be cutting into two. My 60 degree is what I'll be cutting into two, because we said earlier that we are bisecting the major angles to get the other angles. And if I cut 60 degree into two, I'll be having 30, which means I can just easily stand on where this arc crosses this one here. With any reasonable radius, I am going to make an arc outside here, and I'm going to stand on where it starts here. I'm going to make another arc outside here. Joining where the two arc meet, with the center of my semicircle here gives me 30 degree. We are going to check it out. We have to check it out with our protractor. That's the use of our protractor to check out the angle we construct. Although we can use it to draw an angle, but here I'm just going to teach you how to use it to measure angles. I'm considering this side. You can see that I constructed it at this side, so I'm considering the one that starts from 0 here is 0, 10, 20, 30. So we are going to 30 is what we are going to. So I'm going to stand on this point here. Make sure the line and the center are in line with my base, and voila, I have 30 degree. You can see I'm having 0, I'm having 10, I'm having 20, 30 is actually on 30 degree. And what I did here is that the angle here is 30 degree, and the angle outside here is what? Yes, 150 degree. So I'm having 30 degree inside here, I am having 30 degree inside here. So this is the construction of 30 and 30 degree and 150 degree. So this is construction of 30 degree and 150 degree. Let's move to construction of angle 15 degree. I will not only be teaching us how to construct angle 15 degree, but also how to construct some special angles like 7.5, 11 and quarter, and some other angles like that, 22.5, even 65, 75 degree. All those special angles, we'll be talking about how to construct them. But firstly, let's start from 15 degree. And you should notice, to construct 15 degree, all you need to do is just to divide 30 degree into two equal parts, because half of 30 is 15. Whenever you are given any angle to construct, look for the angles you need to bisect to get that angle, or look for angles you need to add together to get that angle. Now, for me to get 15 degree, I said I need to bisect 30 degree. That is, I need to cut 30 degree into two. Now, I'm going to draw a straight line first, because I need to construct my 30 degree first. I'm going to draw a straight line first. On my straight line, I'm going to mark a center O, and I'm going to open my compass to any reasonable radius. Then I'll stand on that point O, on that line. I'll make an arc. I'll make an arc. Then I want to construct my 15 degree to this side so that you will not think, why am I constructing it to the left side since morning? So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to make an arc, and the arc I make here is 60 degree. For me to get 30, I need to bisect 60. So I open my compass to any more reasonable radius. So I'll stand on this point 60 degree. I'm going to make an arc, and I'm going to stand on this point here. I'm going to make another arc, and where the two arc meet each other should give me my 30 degree. It should give me my 30 degree, which means I just bisect um 60 degree into two equal parts. Now I said I need to bisect 30 degree to get my 15 degree. So for me to bisect my 30 degree, I can use same radius or open it to more reasonable radius, because I don't want the arc to be overlapping anyhow. So I'll stand on this point here, that is where my angle ends here. I'm going to make an arc, and I'm going to stand on where the arc begins here. I'm going to make another arc, and where the two arc meet each other, I'm going to join it with the center of my circle. And if I thicken that out, that should give me my um my 15 degree. That should give me my 15 degree. Let's check if we are correct. 15 degree will be in between the 10 and 20. That is this straight line that we have here. This is calibrated in 1 1, not like the centimeter we have on the ruler. This is our 0. The next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you understand? That is how it is being calibrated. So this long one here stands for 5. So you have 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and I'm going to 15. So my 15 will be in between my 10 and my 20, which will be this long line that I have here will be my 15 degree. So I'm going to put my protractor on this point here, and I'm going to make sure it aligns with the center, and also the baseline align with it. And voila, we are going to see that I have my line on the 15 degree. I have my line on the 15 degree. Now, what I did here is construction of 15 degree, but not only 15 degree, because the remaining angle that I'll be having here will be my 165 degree, because this is just the 15 degree, but the remaining angle here will be 165 degree. And if you can get your 15 degree, don't you think you should be able to bisect 15 degree into two also? That is, if you cut 15 into two, that should give you 7.5. So let's assume we have to construct angle 7.5 degree. All you need to do is just bisect 15 degree into two equal parts. And voila, if you bisect it into two equal parts, you'll be having your you'll be having your 7.5. Now I want to bisect my angle 15. I'm going to use this reasonable radius. I can either open it wider or use the same radius, but I don't want the what do they call it, I don't want the arc to be overlapping on each other. So it's either I reduce it from the first one I use, or I extend it further from the last one I use, rather, because I don't want them to be on the same side. So I will stand um on my point here. I'm going to make an arc. I'm going to make an arc, and I'm going to stand on where it ends here also, because that is what I want to bisect. I'm going to make another arc, and where the two arc crosses each other, the angle is getting more smaller, so you might be finding it difficult to get where the two arc meet each other. So try as much as possible to locate where the two arcs meet each other. I'm going to draw a straight line on that. And the straight line that I draw now should bisect 15 degree into 2, giving me 7.5. And you should know, for you to get 7.5, since we are using this side, this is our 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your 7.5 will be in between your 7 and your 8 here. So it will be at their middle there. So which means our 7.5 will be in this range. Now let's check it out. If we are correct, you'll be having your 7.5 in between that. Let's have our baseline to be aligned there, and voila, you have your 7.5 in between your 7 and your 8. That's where your 7.5 will be, which means we constructed angle 15 degree, angle 165 degree, we constructed 7.5 degree. And if this place is your 7.5 degree, right from this line to the back here will be our 172.5 degree, will be our 172.5 degree. That is, we constructed angle 15 degree, 165 degree, angle 7.5 degree, and also 172.5 degree. You don't need to construct everything on one, but it depends on what you are told to construct. I am just showing you how to construct them out. Now, let's construct angle 75 degree. That might look a little bit difficult, and it is not actually difficult. You want to construct 75, you'll be thinking 75, what can I bisect to give me 75? 75 multiplied by 2 gives you 150, which means you can bisect 150 to get 75 degree. Sure, you can bisect 150 to get 75 degree, but how do you get 150 earlier? By just bisecting 30 degree. No, sorry, by just constructing 30 degree. You can follow all those process and just construct your 30 degree, and the remaining 150 degree that you have there, just bisect it into 2 and you have your 75. And which it's very very okay, that I think you can actually try. But you can also do it this way. Why not construct 60 degree, then after you construct 60 degree, you add 15 degree to it. I will not be using the process of that bisection, because I've been talking about bisection, and by now I think you should know how to bisect any angle. But I have actually not talked about how you can add angle to each other. So I'll be adding 15 degree to 60 degree for us to get our 75 degree, because 60 plus 15 gives us 75. So I'll be teaching us how to add 15 degree to that 60 degree to get our 75 degree. And let's start. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to draw a straight line, yes, and mark a point. Call our point center O. I called our point center O. Open to any reasonable radius. We are still on that. Any reasonable radius. That's the logic. So you open to any reasonable radius. You stand on your point O. Using that radius that you open to, make a semicircle. Make a semicircle. After you make a semicircle, come to this side here. Make an arc. Also come to this side here, make another arc. Make another arc. You will notice that I said it earlier, that bisecting this thing like this gives here 60 degree, here 60 degree, also here 60 degree, which everything makes 180 degree. And this is 60 degree here, this is 60 degree here. I'll be adding the 15. Where should I be adding it? Right or left? Let me add the 15 degree to the right, or to the left here. I can add it to the left here, or maybe, okay, let's add it to the right here anyhow. So let's add the 15 degree to the 60 degree we have in the right here. But don't forget that the angle you have from here to here is also 60 degree, and what I need is 15, which means I firstly have to bisect the angle I have here into 30 degree first, and then bisect the 30 degree to 15 degree for also. So I'm going to open to any reasonable radius here. I'm going to stand at this point here. I'm going to make an arc. Then I'm going to stand at this point here also. I'm going to make another arc to cross the first arc. So any line that I draw to join this, the place the arc meets each other with the center, will give me 90 degree, right? Yes, if you remember very well, it's going to give me 90 degree. But not only 90 degree, but it is going to bisect the 60 degree that I have on top here into two, whereby from here to here will be 30, from here to here will be 30. Now for me to now get my 15, I need to bisect either this 30 or this 30, and since I said I want to construct it to this side, I will be bisecting I'll be bisecting the 30 that I have here to get my 15. And for me to do that, I'll open my compass to any reasonable radius, stand at this point here. I'm going to make an arc, and also stand at this point here, and I'm going to make another arc to cross the first arc. Since they are not crossing each other, I have to do it I have to construct the arc so that they cross each other. I have to do the arc so that they cross each other, and the two of them crosses each other at the top here. So where the two arc crosses each other, I'm going to join it with the center of my um semicircle here. And if I join it together like this is 60 degree before, but the small angle that I have here now is 15 degree, and I have added that 15 degree now to this 60, so the whole angle I'm having here now is 75 degree. Is 75 degree. Let's try and measure it out with our protractor. Let's try and measure it out. 75 will be in between 70 and 80, which is around here. The 75 is going to be around here. So let's just measure it out. Since I have my 90 degree here now, I've marked take the point and let the baseline be on the same line. Let me draw the baseline so that you'll be able to see that I am actually following the baseline also. That's how you measure your um distance. So I'm going to make the baseline to be on that, and I'm going to mark out my center, and voila, you have your angle to be on 75, which is directly in between the 70 and the 80, which is in between the 70 and the 80. And if I construct angle 75 degree, that means the other angles I'll be having at the other end is 105 degree, which means if this place is 75 degree, the angle at this side here is 105 degree, which means I constructed angle 75 and angle 105 degree. You can go ahead by dividing 75 into two equal parts. I think that should be giving you 36 and is that at 37 and a half. Yes, that will be giving you 37 and a half. So let's say you want to construct angle 37 and a half now. All you have to do is just bisect your 75 into two equal parts. And the last thing I'll be talking about today is and the last thing I'll be talk and the last angle I'll be constructing for us today now is angle 22 and a half. And how do you think we can get that 22 and a half? We can just bisect our 45 degree. Bisecting 45 degree into two gives us 22 and a half, which means firstly I need to construct angle 45 degree. And let's do that. I want to construct angle 45 degree. The first thing I'll do is I'll draw a straight line. The straight line that I draw, I'll mark a point there, call the point O. Call the point O. Open my compass to any reasonable radius and stand on that point. On that point, I'll make an arc. Yes. For us to get 45-degree, we need to construct 90-degree first. And if you are just looking at this point and you don't know how to construct 90-degree yet, you can go to the timeline of 90-degree. I have every timeline there marked out. Go to 90-degree, then check how to construct 90-degree. And any line that I draw to join here together will give me 90-degree. And if you also don't know how to construct angle 45-degree, in this video I have explained how to construct angle 45-degree also. And since I want my 25-degree to be at the left, you can see that I'm trying to construct it on both sides, so you will not think construction of angles or have one side. So you can construct on either side you want. So I'll be constructing my 22 and a half at the left side. That means my 45-degree should be at the left side also. So I'll be bisecting this 90-degree by constructing my 45 by this side. So the line that I draw to join here and here together should be giving me my 45-degree. So if I have my 45-degree, to get 22 and a half, I just need to bisect my 45. And that bisection is still the same procedure. I just need to bisect my 45. And if I join the line here, where the two arc meets with the line here, and also let me mark out my base. Then what I just did now is construction of angle 22 and a half. Let's go to our protractor. This is 20, the next line is 21, the next line is 22, and between the 22 and 23 is our 22 and a half. So I'm going to put my protractor here. I'm going to put my protractor here and check the baseline, and I'll be having my 22 and a half. I'll be having my 22 and a half. So um if you are constructing 22 and a half, the remaining angle you'll be having there will be 157 and a half. And you can also bisect your 22 and a half to get 11 and a quarter. Let me quickly do that for us here. You can just take your compass, open to any reasonable radius, make an arc on here, make another arc here, and where the two arcs meet each other here, join it together. Then you'll be having 11 and a quarter. And if you construct 11 and a quarter, the remaining angle will be 168 3/4. That will be the remaining angle you'll be having there. You can see construction of angle is not that hard once you know how to bisect your angles and do addition and subtraction of some other angles. And if you want me to do another video of this 75-degree, whereby I bisect 150 into 2 equal parts to get my 75-degree, you can drop it in the comment section below if you want me. So if I have greater number of comments asking me to construct the 75-degree using that method, I promise to drop a video of that on that day. And by our next video, we'll be moving to constructions of plane shapes. Starting from our triangle to our parallelogram to our trapezium, to our square, rectangle. We'll be moving to the construction of plane shapes. Thank you for watching this video from the beginning. If you are still having issue under construction of angles, please, I've marked the timeline out for each angles in this video, just go to the timeline to rewatch the angle you are having issue with. And if you still don't get it, you can comment in the section. You can comment, drop your comment in the section below. I can have a one-on-one class with you at a token price. You are free to contact me. I have all my contacts under the description of this video. So thank you from the beginning. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you'll be seeing more amazing videos that I'll be dropping. Please don't forget to like also and share to your loved ones. You don't know who you might be helping with this video. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.